Hello and welcome to episode 110 of Gamers and Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Anthony Chasson, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod. He's the gaming Yorkshire pudding, always bright and fluffy. It's Mr. Steve Carter.
Hello, I've never been compared to a Yorkshire pudding before, so that's a first. I like that. I think that can stick. I'm happy with that.
I need it to stick now. You need to be the gaming Yorkshire pudding.
Hello,
Steve. Hello, Steve. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. It's nice to be back.
Yes. 2 weeks on the road. This is really cool. You know that you wanted to come back, that you wanted more, which is always good.
You didn't scare me away, and Manny didn't scare me away. I'm here every week now. I think that has to be a thing now. Here every week.
Even if it's just to say hello. You're like, I haven't got time to do it, but I'm just going to say hello.
I'm happy with a cameo or a shout out, the token Yorkshire pudding. I'm fine with that.
Just in the background going, Mario Sunshine's not that bad.
Yeah. I'm going to fight my corner on that. We're going to have a Mario special. I will stick up for Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, it's quite funny. We actually got some feedback about our Mario discussion, which we'll get to a bit later. But maybe we'll kind of open that up to the guys and start getting them to vote for their favourite. But I'll get to that feedback. And a really cool piece of email that dropped, I think, earlier this week, didn't it?
Yeah. It was. You said it was this week, but I think the Christmas special needs to be a Mario special.
Yes.
Mario hats, Luigi hats, they are required. They're mandatory. Mario onesie. I think that's reasonable. And a sunshine in the background for my argument.
Well, James actually has. When we were at EGX, James bought a Luigi dressing gown.
Oh, really?
Yes, there are pictures. I'm sure Matt has some pictures of James rocking a Luigi dressing gown.
I can imagine him rocking it, but he loves Luigi, that guy, doesn't he? There's something about Luigi that he just won't let go, will he?
He just won't let go. He just won't let it lie. It's his favourite brother. I think it's maybe because, the sibling rivalry between Matt and James.
yeah. It's like his brother from another mother, isn't he?
Exactly. We'll have to get the skinny on James when Matt joins the podcast.
Yeah,
in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, so we're like, come on, tell us about James. And that's it. A whole podcast just about James, fueling his ego. Anyway, enough about that, Thomas. How's your week been, sir?
Yeah, it's been good. Not a lot happened, but yeah, still plugging away at Mario. But the probably the biggest thing, the most shocking thing, I actually, for the very first time, watched Stranger Things this week. Nice. So me and Anna, we first watched the first season. On the weekend, we kind of decided that Sunday was going to be a bit of a lazy day and a duvet day. So I just said to her, we need something new to watch. I've wanted to watch this for ages, and thankfully she agreed with me. So we watched, I think, 6 out of the 8 episodes on the Sunday, and then watched the 7th on the Monday and the 8th on the Tuesday. And it's brilliant. I had nothing. I had no expectations before going in. I'd read the blurb on Netflix that a young boy goes missing, and that's as pretty much as I'd got. And I wasn't expecting the all the supernatural, the sci-fi twist at all. I'd kind of already seen that it was set in the 80s, and I thought it was just going to be somebody's abducting some kids as some sort of serial killer. But I don't want to go into too much spoiler territory, because surely there's some people out there that haven't watched it like me, but it was brilliant. I just did not want to stop watching it. Like, literally, we just let Netflix continue play again, the next episode, the next one. It was just, you could just literally sit there and watch it all day, and I'll happily watch season 1 again. But we are going to watch season 2 this weekend, because that's just come out, and I've somehow managed to avoid spoilers on it. I don't know how.
That's good going. That's good going.
Yeah, because I watch things like Game of Thrones every week when it comes out, because it's impossible to avoid spoilers on that thing. And if you just waited for the season to be over, you'd not touch social media for about 8 months. So so I've been watching that mainly, and then Mario. Needless to say, Mario's still there, still on the Switch, taking up a lot of time. So between Stranger Things and Mario, I've had a pretty good week, I think. What about yourself?
That just sounds so cool. So Stranger Things. So the first season, you are just kind of taken back by kind of how cool and how 80s, and kind of how, like, I always say, it's like every 80s movie that I've ever kind of loved and watched. It's just the Duffer Brothers who are the the creators of that, they really do they get that essence, they get that essence of the 80s, and I just think they nail it so much. And I'll be interested to see what you think, next time on the next week, where you feel kind of about the season 2 as well, because season 2 for me, I don't want to set the expectation for you, but for me, season 2 kind of just almost surpassed season 1, which after you're still in that high from season 1, it's kind of hard to fathom that there'll be something better than that. But I think it is actually, it's superb.
Yeah, I just loved the ending of the last episode as well. It's kind of, again, not wanting to go too much to a spoiler territory, but you think it's happy, you think it's over, and then just right at the end it grabs you again, and it just makes you think what is going to happen again. And I love, it's cliche, but I love a cliffhanger. I love when things just lead on to the next. It's like the end of the last Star Wars leads on to the next one, and I love it because you automatically start thinking about the possibilities and what could happen and where it's going to go, and you're already it's good to hear that you're saying that it's better, but you're automatically thinking where can they go from here, because like you said, the vibe they give it and the service in terms of replicating the 80s. I wasn't born in the 80s, but I know kind of what was a thing back then. But it's recreated perfectly. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm hoping that the expectations you're setting there lived up to standard. Yeah, and immense, and hopefully never walk out in the dark in my own house ever again.
It's like, in a way I'm kind of really jealous, because you get to watch like season 1, and you just kind of come away from that kind of that vibe of season 1, and then you're going straight into season 2, where I think we had to wait almost a year for season 2, so it's been like a year-long wait for season 2, and it's really funny because I was in the Manchester office on Monday, and there was a lot of discussion going on about Stranger Things. A lot of people have kind of caught up and watched it, and it's just so funny, everyone just kind of sits back and go, oh, what about this bit? What about this bit? And everyone was just kind of sharing their favourite Stranger Things moments. But it's just, it's fantastic. It's actually it's quite good on Netflix at the moment, because it's not what I've been doing this week, but one of the things that I'm looking forward to this weekend is that The Punisher comes out on Netflix. So we get The Punisher, which is the spin-off from the whole Defenders arc, and so the Punisher was in Daredevil season 2, and he's now getting, I don't know how many episodes it is, but he's now getting his own TV show, and they're dumping it. They're not doing a thing like Star Trek Discovery. They're actually kind of just going, here you go, here's all 8 episodes or 10 episodes or how many episodes they're doing. So that happens on Friday. So I'm quite looking forward to that.
Yeah, they're doing a lot, Netflix, aren't they? And it's good because there's so much. There's, like you say, there's a lot of sort of superhero and Marvel, and there's so many different things. I mean, I can't remember what it's called now, but there was one set in space that I was looking at yesterday, and it's like Netflix in its own right is kind of its own sort of publisher, as it were, isn't it?
Yes.
It's this own sort of powerhouse, and it's one of those people that, there's no on Netflix, because there's a lot of movies there that are on Sky Movies or Apple Stream or whatever, but it's worth paying for just for the TV shows on its own. I mean, we pay, I think it's about £8 a month, is it, for Netflix or the HD? I mean, we don't have 4K, but for £8 a month, and they've said it's going up to £9, which for £9 a month, it's worth it. The amount of TV that you get on there, it's fantastic. So it's one of the things that is a must, I think, these days. Just purely for the TV alone, you get value out of it.
Absolutely, I kind of use, it's really funny because I have Amazon Prime, so I have Amazon Prime for deliveries and stuff like that, and obviously the byproduct of Amazon Prime is you get Amazon Video for free, and they drop some really good movies occasionally on Amazon Prime, but I'm finding that I still use just Netflix so much more, because when I first started using Netflix way back when, it was almost like the bargain bin in Woolworths, like in kind of Walmart, if you're listening to this in the US. It really was. It was like a Attack of the 80-foot monster, and it was really bad movies, and then they had House of Cards, and so you were like, oh, I'm going to watch it for that, but now it's just, you go on Netflix, and it's not a case of what can I watch now, it's actually what can I add to my list, what can I continue watching. They have Star Trek Discovery, as I was saying, the whole Defenders universe, they've got some great movies like Hunt for the Wilder People, and there's just so many great movies on Netflix. You could just spend an entire weekend cocooned away, I think.
Yeah, and especially for us as well. Like because we've got smart TV, it's just there. It's you can just press the smart button and it's there right in front of you. Or you can, because I've got Samsung phone and a Samsung telly. You can just beam it straight to the TV. It's just on so many devices now. It's just it's so accessible. Like your Amazon Prime. Unless you've got a Fire Stick or a Fire TV. You don't have it straight there, do you? So no, it's a lot on there. But yes. Stranger Things 2 will be happening this weekend. So I'm looking forward to the close of play tomorrow when I finish work and get into the weekend.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait to see what you think about it. I mean, for me, it's quite funny because I was in London today. I've got to go back into London again tomorrow, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to cope. Two on London days back to back. That doesn't happen anymore for me. So tomorrow night we've got Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 is coming out. So that's a big one for the Chesson household. We love our Lego games, and I've bought it digitally so we can both play it at the same time using that kind of Microsoft Xbox share thing. So we're going to do that, and then obviously we're going to watch an episode of Punisher, and then on Saturday it's Justice League. Ooh. So it's Justice League IMAX.
Big
so
week.
I cannot wait. So it's like we had it a couple of weeks ago where we had like Mario and Assassin's Creed and Wolfenstein all coming out on the same day, and now we've got Mario, and now we've got the same thing again. There's just like these batches of content that just blow my mind.
One thing after another, isn't it? It's the kind of the big build up towards Christmas, isn't it? And then only in 3 weeks now, Star Wars will be out. That's coming out in the middle of December, and that's just I'm already giddy for that. It's one of them things. I mean, we do have an IMAX, but I've never really been to IMAX or go to IMAX. But the thing is, because Anna's not a sort of a big sort of Marvel or a Star Wars, not as I am, I kind of have to coerce her into going to like the everyman cinema. So if we go watch Star Wars, she can get wine and a pizza while she's watching it. So that's kind of my bribe. Is I'll pay, I'll get you some wine while we're there. You just sit and enjoy it. It's all right. And to be fair to her, she actually enjoyed the last two Star Wars movies. She's not a fan of the old ones, but the Force Awakens and Rogue One, she quite enjoyed. So the tactic's slowly working, I think. I think she's slowly coming round to it. So, yeah, like you say, it's just one thing after another at the minute, and it's brilliant. It's really good, games, movies, TV, everything towards Christmas. It's just building up and topping off what has been a good year all round, I think.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think it's been it's quite funny actually, because when I was looking at kind of 2017, I was like, what's actually going to be, it's not going to be as good as 2016 movie wise and things like that, but it's turned out to be just so much better, and I'm, as you say, but there's two more big movies. We've got Justice League this weekend, and then we've got Star Wars. They're the kind of two biggies that we've got kind of left to go this year. I don't think there's any others after that. But they're the two big ones that kind of, and I cannot wait. And it's really funny because I've said on the pod many times, we always go to the same seat in the IMAX at Blue Water. So we always go to the first showing on a Saturday. If you want to know where I am, opening weekend of any big movie, it's the IMAX in Blue Water, and we're always in the same seat as well. And it just, I almost kind of, it's a little bit OCD if I don't get that seat. I'm always like, the tickets are on sale. I have to get that seat.
That seat.
Exactly. I'm sure one of my friends are going to troll me one day and just book out that row, and I'll just be so sad, and I'll just be...
Can you imagine getting there one week, Saturday morning, though, and there's somebody sat in your seat, and you're like, no.
Get out.
You need chairs. You need to have a little placket, like a reserved sign on it, reserved for the Chessons.
Absolutely. Even the gentleman on it, Nicola, have the aisle seat as well. So I'm happy. I'm just sitting there letting the IMAX-ness wash over me, and so I'll report a bit more on the pod next week. But I cannot wait for Justice League. I've actually stayed away from all spoilers for just similar to you with like Stranger Things. I've stayed away from all spoilers on Justice League. I don't even know the reviews because I don't even want a review to taint my experience. I'm one of the few that likes Batman versus Superman. I love, and I've been very openly about it on Twitter, I love Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he was born to play Batman. Although someone did actually tweet this week to say that because there's a bit of contention that maybe Ben Affleck won't be Batman anymore, and there was one saying the only person that could potentially replace Ben Affleck would be Carl Urban, and I just just thought, yeah, I could get with that. I could get with Karl Urban. He was amazing in Judge Dredd. He was great in Thor Ragnarok, and and I just love every minute that he's on screen as Bones in the Star Trek movies as well. So I'm like, yeah, I could get behind a Karl Urban Batman.
Yeah, bring it on. I mean, it's something that I've not watched, is Batman vs Superman. I've got it there, sat waiting to watch, but since we've kind of moved back to the parents' house, I think it kind of got shoved in one of the boxes somewhere from the games room. I know it's on Sky Movies, I think, to be fair, but it's just trying to find time to get it in and watch it with all the other stuff. But it reminds me, when you're talking about Justice League, a bit of a tangent, but the I haven't watched it, but the new trailer for Deadpool 2 came out. Was it yesterday or today? It was indeed. I think. I haven't watched it yet, but I know that's something I'm going to get excited about. 'Cause I loved that movie, Deadpool. That was really good. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Does it give us a date on there? Just sort of tease it, or?
No, it's very, very quick. The trailer, it's very funny because it's Bob Ross who does the painting.
Yeah, I've seen it. Deadpool dressed as Bob Ross. Yeah,
it's basically Deadpool is Bob Ross, and then it basically just goes into. I'm sure potentially maybe at the weekend we're going to get a bigger trailer because there's no sign of Cable or anything like that. Josh Brolin as Cable. Yeah. There's none of that, so we're not seeing any of that. I'm just having a quick look on IMDb to see if it's got a release date. I know it's 2018. I'm just scrolling. I'm just 1st of June, 2018.
Ooh, it's not too far away then, is it really?
No. So it's very much kind of, it's a teaser. It's teasing you for a bigger trailer yet to come. Yes, but it looks really good. So should we jump into it? So you were saying Mario Odyssey. You've been catching up with Mario Odyssey. So how's your continuous with Mario Odyssey?
Well, when I was actually playing it last night, I actually rolled the finishing credits on it. So I've actually finished the main string of missions now.
Right.
So that's done and out of the way. I've just got to the last kingdom that it puts you in when you've finished, and then it just basically said, "Oh yeah, you've still got a load of moons to collect, and if you get them all, there might be something in it for you." So it kind of leaves it. I've said I'm a sucker for the cliffhanger, and just a little bit of temptation there. So it's kind of said, "Oh, just go gather some more moons, and we might be able to do something else." So I think I'm on about 170, 180 at the minute. So I'm nowhere near getting them all, because I saw on Twitter, I think it was yesterday as well, somebody was on 999, and I think I mentioned this briefly, and it's like, it's insane. It's insane, because I think there are 1,000. I think there is bang on 1,000, and I think, if I remember rightly, I think you have to buy either the last one or the second to last one, and I imagine the coins to actually fund that will be quite high. Because I was looking at some of the items after I'd finished, the clothes, and I just bought an American football jersey in it as well.
Oh, nice.
I've got the helmet and the jersey, so he's running about with his helmet, his American football helmet on at the minute. But yeah, there was the bones creatures in the sort of the lava level.
Oh, there's dry bones.
Yeah, dry bones. Yeah, that's it. There's a suit for him.
Oh yes.
It's 9,999 coins. It's like,
wow,
who's going to get that many coins? I think I've gone around the 3, the 4 mark before I've started buying outfits and moons, because I'm kind of a sucker for when I see a moon in a shop, I have to buy it. I just have to go, yes. I'm having that straight away. So I've seen that, and I've kind of, if I get there, I get there. But I'm happy with him in his jersey at the minute. So that's still taking up quite a bit of time. I was giving it a quick whirl before we got on the pod. Just casually rounding up some sheep on there. That's on one of the worlds when you finish it. So yeah, I'm still kind of hoovering up moons on there. So Call of Duty 4 went back. I briefly mentioned that last time I was on, but I gave up on that. As we know, I started on veteran, and it got to the point where the controller nearly went out the window or through the telly. So I'd done the Gillies in the Mist level, where you have to snipe, and then I did the one where you actually shoot. Is it Makarov? And then you have to carry Macmillan to the chopper. That took about 20 attempts before I went on YouTube.
Wow.
I looked on YouTube, as you do. Nice and easy way to do it on veteran. There's a little bit of a sneaky, hidey place to sit while all the kind of Macmillan text people out from the distance. So I did that. Did the next level after, and then I think I got stuck again. It's just not fun for me anymore. I found playing Call of Duty is fine, but to me, call me a wuss if you like, but to me, playing on the hardest difficulty setting and just getting my backside handed to me every time is just not fun for me anymore.
Yes.
I've got more important things to worry about, and I've got Mario to go to, so I found Call of Duty was taking up too much time. Turned that off. I instantly took the disc out, put it back in the tray and put it back in the envelope to Boomerang, and kind of just casually threw it out on the landing. That's going back tomorrow, sort of. That's it, done. I've had enough. And then got back to Mario just to calm me down a little bit. So that's gone back. The only other thing I've been playing, which I am doing a little review for as well for D-Pad Joy, is a game on the Switch called Spellspire. So it's by the same people who brought Judge and Time Recoil and Neon Chrome. They're the same people behind it. A little bit different. It's not a top-down shooter. It's a sort of a word puzzle game crossed with an action side-scrolly RPG sort of thing. So you're a little wizard who has to kind of climb a big tower. I think there's about 100 levels, I think, to get to the top. And you get a sort of a tile sequence of about, I think it's either 8 to 10 letters, and you have to create words from these letters, and they, depending on the size of the word, they power your moves. So there's a kind of a line of enemies which you have to take down, and the bigger the word, the more damage you do. So it's kind of a nice little sort of wits about you. You need, a little bit of sort of a countdown sort of knowledge, as it were, to think of, find the words in the jumble. But yeah, it's a nice little game actually. It's a little thinker, like I say. It just keeps your brain moving. It's not sort of just a simple button masher or just a hack and slash sort of thing. It keeps your brain going, and inevitably in there are some words that you've never seen in your life before. It says you missed this biggest word. You could have got all 10 letters, and it's like, I've never seen that word in all my life. But yeah, it's quite nice, and it's in a way that Judge and Time Recoil does. It makes you go back because you have to power up your wand, your cape, your hat, to obviously get your defence higher, your attack higher. But yeah, it's a nice little game actually. So yeah, I'm still in the middle of playing that. Like I say, the review's going to be out soon when I've penned it. But yeah, it's nice to see the Switch have a strong indie scene at the minute. There's a lot of support for it, and it's quite nice. It seems like a natural place for this sort of game. Because as good as the sort of support is from Sony and Microsoft for the Xbox and the PlayStation, I think it gets a little bit lost sometimes because these sort of smaller games are kind of more sort of like on the go, sort of like a portable experience. So I think the Switch is kind of a natural home for these sort of things. So it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's called Spellspire.
Spellspire, yeah, that's the one.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, I know, it's a tongue. Yeah, especially if I finish all this beer. Yeah, I might not be able to say it again. Then I don't think I'll play it tonight when I've had this beer. I won't be able to see letters, I don't think. But yeah, it's a nice little game.
It sounds. Did you ever play Letter Quest on the PlayStation?
Yeah,
I think it was free with PS Plus. It sounds very similar to that.
Yeah, it is in a way, I think, and it's nice to have a game that kind of like tests you a little bit as well. It's a puzzle as well at the same time, and there's a big thing about obviously your phones having puzzles and keeping your brain active while you're travelling and not turning your brain to mush just watching TV all the way. So yeah, it's nice to see, and like I say, the indie scene's quite strong on Switch at the minute, and I think there's sort of about 250 games on Switch now, I think, including all the sort of the indie titles as well. So yeah, it's good to see Nintendo open up their sort of their platform, as it works. I know they have been kind of a bit sort of tight on who comes in and who gets kicked out, sort of thing. So yeah, it's 10 tons. The people behind this and the other games that I've mentioned, they seem to be capitalising on the sort of the Switch market and the popularity of it, and it's good. And hopefully they kind of find the feet. And I think they've brought this out for the other consoles as well. But it'll be good to see them grow and learn from this and bring out more games in the future. So yeah, it's very good, very good.
That's really cool because I guess what you were saying is spot on, isn't it? Right now you can put a game up on Switch and might get noticed. It'll get noticed where if you put a game up on Xbox or PS4, there's so much content going up there, kind of again, every day, every week, that it easily goes to the back of the queue quite quickly. You kind of fall off that first tab when you look at new games on the Xbox dashboard. Games just disappear quite quickly on there. So yeah, I can see why they're kind of capitalising on that. A, new console, people want stuff to play, and B, that there's, it seems to be the indie darling at the moment. I mean, it's quite funny because we're still playing, I'm still playing it, and Nicola is playing it more than she hasn't even started Mario. She played Mario for about an hour, but she's still playing Stardew Valley. She's in year 3 or 4 of Stardew Valley.
Wow.
Has a farm that is just the hub of industry. There is. I look at my farm. It's really funny because I said to her, I said, your farm is just like this. It is just this hub of industry. You're this bigwig, and then I look at my farm, and it just looks like a little artisan farm. I've got a couple of cows now, and I've got some chickens, and I got some, and a duck, and
it's just like an allotment in the back garden.
Exactly, and I've still got kind of a broken down greenhouse because I haven't been able to unlock all those bundles. But she's just like, she just spends an entire day just kind of like picking plants and picking her crops, and it's just that she's worked this out to the nth degree. The routes that she has to travel. But I'm enjoying my indie farm. My indie farm is great. I'm at the farmers market rather than at Waitrose. Farm.
Yeah, keeping it real, Chess, and I like it. You're not
exactly.
You're not getting above your stations. I like that. You're keeping it true to where you started from. Yeah.
Indeed, but I just love that game so much. It's still a game where even this morning when I jumped on the train to go into London, I was listening to a podcast, and I did a day of Stardew, and then I jumped into Mario as well, and I'm just like, it's quite funny that you were talking about kind of unlocking items. I've just unlocked Chef Mario, and
yes.
I had to go. I didn't have enough purple coins to unlock the beret, which I really, really want. But I managed to. I got like the chef's outfit, a chef's hat, and it's a glorious thing. It's just, I love that part of that game, just like dressing Mario up.
Yeah, well, it unlocks like a sort of secret door as well, doesn't it? So there's kind of it serves a purpose as well. So it's not a case of just spend this in-game currency for whatever.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Have you not found that yet?
No. Well, yeah. I've been the chef, almost like straight away. So I did go into a little door within kind of at the side of a mountain, but I thought that was just like part of the level.
No, there's all in every, I think it's in every world anyway, but there's a sort of a door with a lock on it, and there's a character from the world there, and he'll say,
yes.
You need to be, it's good to be a chef, or in a suit if you're in New Donk City. And he said, oh no, sorry, you're not wearing the right clothes to get in here. And then it'll lead to like a little secret area for you to go, do a little puzzle or a challenge for a moon. So it does serve a purpose. I don't know if the jersey does, the football jersey, but I know that the chef's outfit and like the suit, there's another one that I've just found as well, but I don't want to spoil it because it kind of comes out when you finish the game, that suit. So I, kind of want to wait till people get there to see
yeah.
what it is. But yeah, there's so many, So yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for that. I can't remember where it is in the little food world where you've just got to.
It's right next. It's right next to where you buy the hats. Yeah, because I walked up to it and tried to kick it and throw my hat at it. Go, oh my God, or maybe this unlocks later. And what I didn't do was talk to the fork that's next to the door.
There you go.
That's what I didn't do.
Talk
tip.
To the
Thanks,
fork.
Steve.
Top tip. Talk to the fork. Talk to the fork.
Life lesson there.
Yeah.
Always talk to your forks.
Exactly. There's always a lesson with a fork somewhere, isn't there?
Yes, indeed. So I've been playing Mario kind of, but I think also I know Manny and I kind of dived into it last week. I think we'd only been like 24 hours with the new shiny that was the Xbox One X. I've been playing a lot more of Xbox One X, and do you know what? I absolutely love this piece of hardware. It's a fantastic piece of hardware. Every time I fire it up, I'm just reminded of how glorious everything looks now, especially Forza. I have been kind of holding back on Forza Motorsport 7. I've been holding back, like my Sunday morning or my Saturday morning kind of ritual of just playing that. I've been holding back, but now that the Xbox One X is out, I'm now doing that. I'm now kind of going down early on a Saturday, listening to a podcast and just playing Forza, just kind of doing a championship, and it just, every time you kind of turn this on, it just looks fantastic. And I've been going through more and more titles, been looking at Gears of War 3. I think Manny and I were talking about that last week. That looks amazing. That looks incredible. But it's just I like the slickness. I like the speed of this. It's quite funny because I paired the out of the box Scorpio controller, and since I've been playing it, I haven't got my Elite controller out. So I really need to kind of bust my Elite controller out as well. But there's something about the Project Scorpio controller that feels quite nice. So it's just so it's all round. It's absolutely superb. I get to I'm going to play with the other one that we've got in the house. So they've kind of got one for Nicola, one for myself. I'm going to play with the other one at the weekend when Lego Marvel comes out. So maybe next week I can kind of report back on what it looks like on a 1080p TV. What it actually kind of the upscaling that you get on a 1080p TV, because I'm still searching for a second screen that is 4K or HDR. I think I might, because what I'm finding is I'm finding some monitors. I've found some monitors that are like 30 inches. So the space that I have next to the TV, which is kind of now my gaming space, I can't fit a 40-inch TV in there. It's not that big. But I could do a 30. I could do a little bit bigger than that as well. But I'm finding it hard to find a 4K that's that small, because I think Manny was saying last week that it doesn't really kind of render. No. But what I found is some screens, some monitors that do that, and there was one that did 4K, or there was one that did HDR, and I think HDR would probably be a better investment than the 4K, because it's HDR that's really kind of making those colours pop.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to say, like you said, to see what upscaling does on a 1080 screen, because they've said that you still see the benefit, and to me, I'm not buying an X, but if I did, obviously I'm still locked to a 1080 screen until we move out and I can justify the new TV. So it'd be interesting to see what difference it actually makes, and if it's noticeable beyond someone saying, "Oh, it looks a bit nicer, does that?" Because I think a lot of people will still be at the point where they've bought the X just to buy it, and they may not necessarily have the 4K set yet, because, like you say, it's the space. I think as much as people are struggling with, because Manny, I think, said he had a 30-inch 4K monitor, but I think they're just as expensive as a full-size TV sometimes, aren't they? So it's it's like anything. The price of 4K sets is coming down, weekly, isn't it? And getting towards this time of year when it's Black Friday, there's inevitably going to be some deals, floating about. But I was looking on Argos and Amazon the other day, and you can still get a decent 4K telly for £700 to £800 now, can't you? Which, considering 12 months ago, where the prices were at, $3,000 for a 4K TV, and it's in the space of 12 months, it's come down quite a lot. So I think it's good to see that they are supporting the old games as well. Like you say, it's like Gears 3 and things like that. It's not just all the new games are going on it, because I know the haters are saying, "Oh yeah, but there's nothing on Xbox. They're bringing out a new console, but there's nothing 4K. They've got no IPs, But they're proactively, supporting old titles, aren't they? And that's the thing that they're doing, is they're making 4K a big thing, and making it accessible for past games as well as not just future games, which is a good thing to be doing, because they're bringing out more games gold and backwards compatibility, the 360 games. So it's good to see that the future is there for them in 4K and in the old games as well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I mean, it's really interesting because, over the last month, they've been giving away, like, Mirror's Edge, they've been giving away Gears of War 3, and all of these titles have got a 4K patch now.
Yeah.
And I haven't fired up Mirror's Edge, but by all accounts, it looks stunning.
Yeah, and that's
absolutely incredible.
Testament to a game that age as well, because that must be, 10 years old now? Something
must
like
be.
that, and for somebody to say, a 10-year-old game looks good on 4K, because you think it'd look horrible, wouldn't you? You'd think it'd upscale and render horrifically, but yeah, it's like you say, to be giving these games away for free that people probably will be buying anyway because they are compatible. It's good on Microsoft's part to be saying, look, with these games are going to be 4K. Get them now while they're free, and download the assets as well, because as we were discussing last week, the assets aren't small, which is a big reason why I couldn't have an X at the minute as it is. But it's good to see that they're proactively supporting the console that they're bringing out, which it could easily die a death. If there wasn't the support there, it could be a flop. But from what I can see in the media and people, it's been so well received, and so it should be. I'm not picking one up, but that doesn't mean I'm hating on it, because it's a great technical achievement. It's brilliant to see a console that does 4K natively and can do it in a box that's much half the size of a gaming PC, and probably weighs twice half as much as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it's really interesting to see that now that the Xbox One X is out, Phil Spencer's message has now changed. Before it was like, right, most powerful console, all of that, just talking about the hardware, hardware. But now that it's out, he started talking about, right, I've done that. I've got the 4K box under the TV. My next challenge now is a new IP, new first parties. We've got PUBG coming on the 12th of December. Looking forward to that. And it'd be great because it's part of the preview program. So if you've never played PUBG before, you can jump in and have a couple of hour trial, because you can actually just have a trial of it without paying anything. So you get to kind of flavour. But I'm just gonna, I'm gonna jump into PUBG because it sounds like it could be a laugh. We could get some sparks, get some listeners, get some guys together, similar to what we did with the Forza Drive Club. We could get a group together and just have a real laugh, and I think that's going to be. But yeah, they didn't bring out a brand new game with it. They put Forza out a couple of weeks before, but it's quite nice because it's like, just look at this shiny piece of hardware. This is good enough to stand on its own. But this time next year, they're not going to get the same pass that they're getting this year, and they need to make sure that we've got some good stuff. And I'm sure they are. We do have Crackdown. Crackdown's going to be coming out. Sea of Thieves is going to be coming out. We've got lots of games that are on the horizon. So we just need to make them look shiny and lovely and get some more first party titles. But it's probably you're feeling it as well. I'm feeling it. There's so many games to play right now. We don't need any more games. No. I started a brand new game this week and it's grabbed me, and that is Star Wars Battlefront 2. So I started playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 this week. I think while we were podding last week, they had that EA Access 10-hour trial. So I was downloading it. I think Manny was going to download it as soon as the pod finished, and I jumped in, and we were right. It was just like the first three missions of the campaign, but the entire game was open and was ready to go at that point. But then I have the deluxe edition of Star Wars Battlefront, so I bought the deluxe edition, downloaded that, so I got to start playing it on. So I got through the campaign, the EA Access campaign, quite quickly, and then it just stopped, and I was like, no, why? Why stop it? Damn you, Manny, you were right. And I was just like, but it was really good. I was like, I can't wait. And then I knew I'd bought the deluxe. I knew I'd gone all in on it, but I didn't realise that the deluxe had unlocked early. And then so on Tuesday I saw a tweet from EA, amongst all the other tweets that we'll get to in a moment about Battlefront, saying, it's available now. So I just Tuesday night just jumped in and continued playing the campaign, and as much as there's a lot of negativity around Battlefront, and we'll get to that bit in a moment because I think it's important that we talk about it, I have to say, and I will go out there and just say that I'm really enjoying Star Wars Battlefront. The campaign, I'm really enjoying the campaign. I'm not going to spoil it. because there's some really great points there that people should just play and see it for themselves to start off with. The only kind of criticism I have is that there's a lot of flying missions. There's a lot of flying missions, and I'm not that great at flying. So I do get a little bit frustrated at the flying missions. I'm like, I don't want this, but then you're playing as part of Inferno Squadron, and they're a TIE Fighter Squadron, so of course there's going to be flying missions. And also there's a great story that's kind of going along, and it's well voiced, and the motion capture for the main protagonists of this game is really good. It's really good, and I'm really enjoying it. It looks amazing on Xbox One X and HDR. But then every now and then they will go to a mission that has a classic character in it. So suddenly you're playing a classic character. So it's like, hey, look, everyone, it's your favourite character. and they look a bit weird. They look a bit. I tweeted out a picture yesterday, and I won't go too deep into it because I want people to enjoy this themselves. But I tweeted out a picture yesterday of Han Solo, a hero of mine. When I was growing up, I wanted to be him. And he's just Harrison Ford in general, but Han Solo was kind of like a big thing for me when growing up. And he has a beard, and it's weird. It's just like, so he's in Maz Kanata's castle. He's kind of, and this all takes place just after Return of the Jedi. So he's a bit, I don't know why he's so down, but he's a bit kind of down, and it's just like, and he's got this beard, and it just looks a little bit weird. And it was just, even like Nicola, she was playing Stardew Valley, and she looked up, and she was like, "Ooh, that's a bit weird." She was like, "Why does he have a beard, or why does he like that?" So it was quite funny just to kind of do that. And I got to pilot the Millennium Falcon. So there's a piece in this level where you then have to pilot the Millennium Falcon, and you're flying around. I think it's called Takanato. I think the planet. I may have butchered that. I may have got it wrong, but it's where Maz Kanata's castle is, and you get to fly around that lake that you saw in Force Awakens.
Right.
And that was really cool. And I'm like, I'm flying the Millennium Falcon, and this is amazing, and it looks amazing. And then you have to do stuff, and then instantly I'm upside down, and I don't know what I'm doing. It's just like, I don't even get like the comments from from Chewbacca to my left. Nicola going, "Why are you upside down?
What are you doing?
Yeah. Why are you pointing to the sky?" It's really funny, but I'm really enjoying it, and what I've been doing is a couple of nights this week when I finish work, maybe Nicola hasn't gone home, or I'm just kind of waiting for her, just kind of, we'll go down and we'll cook dinner, etc. And I've just been jumping in to the multiplayer, and I've been playing kind of like a multiplayer game every now and then, and even that is really enjoyable. I've been sticking to the 40, the big strikes, the big kind of galactic battles, which is 20v20, and and they had the clone colony from Attack of the Clones, which looks incredible in the wet. They had Naboo. They had the area from Naboo, which they showed in the E3 trailer. And I've had, that was Theed, I think that was. And there's been some other areas and they just look incredible. I've been on Hoth, and they just look incredible. And so all in all, I'm actually enjoying the experience of playing Star Wars Battlefront. It comes out, we're podding on Thursday, it comes out tomorrow for general access to everyone, and I'm just really enjoying it, and it irks me slightly because there is a lot of bad press over it. There's a lot of people that are maybe hating it for the sake of hating it, because it's maybe but there is actually, I'm enjoying it. As a video game, this is what this is. It's a video game, of a beloved franchise that I absolutely love. I'm really enjoying it.
No, that's good. And before we kind of move on to the elephant in the room, as we know it's lurking, but what, I know it's not out yet, but what sort of, the content-wise, I mean, what sort of, because I know people sort of, with the first Battlefront, or the sort of the remake of the Battlefront that we had, is the the limit of the sort of the weapons and the sort of the armory that you had, as it were. So does that seem kind of a bit more expanded on now, or is there seems to be more support in terms of sort of variety in the game, or is it kind of still a bit restricted, or can't you tell at the moment?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely. I've already unlocked. Having maybe having the deluxe edition. I've unlocked some characters. I've already unlocked Kylo Ren. I've got Yoda's available. There seems to be more. There's obviously you got the one thing that you have now. I'm not sure if we had this in the first Battlefront, but you got the different classes. There's 4 different classes now. So you got your heavy, your special, your assault. You've got all of those. And there's something that I really love about jumping in and just playing as a stormtrooper, or playing as a droid, and that's awesome. Playing as a droid and just running around Naboo is really good. I still have that problem. Where I am shooting rebels, more so in the campaign than in multiplayer. That you're a bad guy. You're part of Inferno Squad. You're a bad guy, and you're just taking out rebels. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right. The worst was actually when I was in the TIE Fighter taking out X-Wings. That was just, that's all right of my that. Exactly. All of my life since I watched Star Wars, I've always loved X-Wings, and now I'm just taking them out in a TIE Fighter. It's wrong. There's something wrong about that. But yeah, there seems to be there's lots of content. There's lots of guns that you unlock. every time you do something in the campaign, so if you get through a chapter in the campaign, you get some more credits. You can unlock those credits. I've already unlocked enough credits to unlock Darth Vader, but I'm just saving them. I'm not sure if I actually want Darth Vader, because actually playing as those heroes, I always find it a little bit janky when you see them it's quite nice every now and then you're doing a battle and then suddenly you'll see Darth Vader. That's quite sinister, it's quite sinister, but when there's 8 Darth Vaders on the map, no one wants to see that. So I just actually, do you know what, I'll save it for guns. But there does seem to be, there's more maps, there's more of the arcade mode. The arcade mode where you could split screen. There seems to be a lot more of that. They seem to have those as stories now. So there just seems to be kind of some stories there. So that seems to be a little bit fleshed out a little bit more. There seems to be more multiplayer maps. There's, off the bat, you have the galactic battle, you have the space battles, which obviously I don't go anywhere near. Then you have some heroes and villains, which was in the last one. You have Strike, which is 8 versus 8. I was playing a bit of that last night. I'm really loving that. And then there was another mission as well. But I think they're going to be expanding. They're going to be adding more content. They're adding some Last Jedi content, and all that's coming for free, isn't it, this time? So they're giving all of that stuff away for free, which is why I was happy to jump in with the deluxe edition, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to spend hours playing this, and I want to show. I love the fact that they listened to their fans about one thing, which was the single player, no single player, and they've gone all out, and they've got a really, it's a really good story. I'm really enjoying it. It takes some twists and turns, but like I say, apart from the classic characters coming in every now and then, it's really good. I'm actually quite enjoying it. So yeah, I would say they've definitely expanded on the content. But I guess one thing that we need to open that loot box, and we need to talk about the craziness that is the loot box situation right now with EA with Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, and it seems to cause a lot of people a lot of stress and heartache as this, and it's the fact that there's been some people have done a bit of digging and a few sort of background calculations, and to figure out that, like you've been saying, there's a lot of more heroes in this to unlock, and there's been some people that have done some calculations to figure out that actual in-game game time to get these credits to unlock certain heroes would be the equivalent of 40 hours game time.
Wow.
And people inevitably, as in the games industry, you can't please everybody, weren't happy with it. And I think there's some justification in it, really, that 40 hours for one character does seem like a long time. And I know Battlefront is a game that's intended to be, jump online and you play again and again and again, but 40 hours just for one person,
yes.
It is a long, and these, you can't even play them, permanently, can you? Because like you said, the heroes, you get as a sort of a special ability, so you can't play as them as a full game, so, in a full match, as it were, so, people kind of got, gathered and got up in arms, as it were, to EA to kind of take this on board and look at it, and before the game's even come out, they've already taken this feedback on board, and reduced the amount of time from say an average of 40 hours to 10 hours, which yes. I think is a very positive move from EA, because there's a lot of bad press about EA, and some of it I think is justified, some of it I don't think is. Like you said, they took the feedback on board from the first one, and they've brought us a single player campaign. They've given us more content in terms of that campaign, the online modes, the characters, the weapons, that sort of thing, and the maps. But I think again, it's just kind of, I think the EA have always got to do something that's a little bit cynical. I think they've got that innate trait where they have to get you somehow, in terms of you could play this game and get these for free, but it would be really quick if you just bought this little shortcut here that costs you £10 and you'll get this character in no time. And it's the same with like FIFA. They have the ultimate team for FIFA, they do like with Battlefield now these days as well, with the loot drops, and it's an occurrence that I don't like to see. If it's something that it doesn't change the game as such, if you're paying for something to make your character look a bit different, a different sort of outfit, or something that's not going to change your experience as much as somebody else, then I don't mind it. But when it's something that can be a big part of the game for somebody, if that is the key thing of I want all these heroes, and you're saying if there's say 5 to unlock and 3 of them you need 40 hours each to unlock, that that can make a break or game for some people, and I'm glad to see EA have taken it on board and reduced that time. And they've done it before it's come out. So they've addressed it pretty much straight away or as quickly as they could do. So that's the biggest thing I think they had there. In terms of the hero, so it's good to see EA reflecting on feedback and acting on it so quickly.
One of the things that really interested me out of all of this, and like I say, they haven't even released the game. It releases tomorrow, so this is all kind of EA access and those people that bought the deluxe. But one of the things that really interested me was that the Reddit post that EA put up. So there's a Reddit post for Star Wars Battlefront. A lot of people would do those calculations and working that out. So they put a post up, didn't they, to say that we're actually taking it down, we're reducing it by 75%. And when some people say, yeah, but you're just greedy because this was obviously you trying it at the full whack to see if people would buy it, and then you dialed it down. Yeah. Why didn't it start there? And then this Reddit post, which is EA going, look, okay, we messed up. We didn't test this as much as we should have done. We're greedy. Sorry, we fixed it now. And this post is the most. I don't go on Reddit, so I'm not quite sure the kind of terminology, but it's the most downplayed or disliked quote or post on Reddit in Reddit's history, with over I think of yesterday it was over 600,000 people had disliked that post. Now, I doubt if there's 600,000 people playing Star Wars Battlefront at the moment. So all they're doing is just downgrading that, either because A, they don't like EA, they're jumping on the bandwagon, or it's just like, oh, microtransactions bad, consumer good, and it's just like, yeah, exactly, it's just like downplayed it. I'd rather if like someone go, I've played it, do you know what? I'm enjoying myself. I can see what you're doing. It's fine. I mean, I don't need to unlock those. So when I am sitting on there, and I'm sitting on the fence on this one, because I don't like the idea of microtransactions, but at the same time, I think one of the arguments that I've heard on numerous podcasts is that games cost a lot of money to make. And when the 360 came out, games went up by £10.
Yeah.
So games went up by £10 from with the 360 with HD, and we're moving on. So it's like, should games go up and then stop microtransactions? Because okay, I paid, I can't remember how much I paid for the deluxe edition, but if you pay £60 for a game and then that's it, you don't get any micro. You still get loot boxes, because there's something nice about a loot box unlocking, and like you say, Overwatch did it perfectly. All of the Overwatch loot boxes were all to do with cosmetics. It was how your character looked and and that was it, and no temporary unlocks. So that they did it really well, and I just think it's the trend at the moment. And when this game was being built, obviously loot boxes were beginning to be a thing, and I think EA has just, someone in a boardroom has just got a little bit too greedy, and I think someone has just gone, let's do this, because it's not the developers.
No.
A developer's not sitting there going, let's make more money, because the developers don't get the money. EA and their shareholders get the money. Yeah. So it's probably the shareholders that are being forcing the developer. It would be, I know it would be interesting to kind of get like James's take on it, just kind of how, from a developer point of view, you might not be able to say too much, but it will be interesting to just get a developer's point of view. It's like, if you do put progression and loot boxes or cards in your game, I guess the developers, they should be looking to make it fun, to make that progression fun. And if I know they cranked it down now to like 10 hours, but still 10 hours, there's probably about 25 characters to unlock, so that's 250 hours of playing Star Wars Battlefront to get the quote unquote full experience. I feel that I'm getting the full experience, and when I unlocked Chewbacca the other day, I was like, this is bloody awesome. It's Chewbacca, and he only pops in every now and then in the game. You have to amass so many points to then unlock the hero, and then you can choose the hero if it's available, because sometimes you go, your hero's available, you die, and then you go to choose your hero, but everyone else has already chosen the hero, so they have a line through it to say there's too many special characters on the field right now. So it's really interesting to see that. I mean, what's your take on loot boxes? Are you kind of anti them, or do you not like the practice? It leaves a kind of sour taste, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm with you what you said there. Like I tapped into, it's like if it makes the experience a little bit more sort of unique or personal for you in terms of cosmetics, you know, an outfit or a different skin for a gun, or you know, a sight. You know that I don't mind that, because it's not altering the experience, you know, and it's when it's the pay to win model that I don't like. You know, here it's where you have to pay to get something that's going to get you better at the game, and I don't like it. And like you say, it's not the devs who are doing it, because you know they're just putting a game out there that's their hard work that they want people to enjoy. And I wouldn't be against games going up in price a little bit if you got the full thing for the price that you were paying, because I know there's a lot. I've seen it before where if you see the price of games that have been over the past maybe 15, 20 years, the price hasn't really jumped and followed inflation as you'd expect it to, has it? You know, like you said, there was a jump between the sort of the PS2, the Xbox era to the PS3 and the 360 for HD, and by rights, given if 4K is going to be the norm in the next, say, maybe 2 years, the prices surely should be going up, because the development costs are only going to increase, aren't they? And like you said, for this, where EA has the money to do this, where there's motion capture involved, you know, getting big name voice actors and motion capture actors to work on games, the development costs are going to go up. And like I say, if it makes the experience better, I don't mind paying more for it, but I don't want to pay more for games and then still have to pay even more to get more content. You know, I don't mind DLC as long as it's not clearly just ripped out of the main core of the game to get more money. You know, I don't like that, and I don't like when they release a game that's clearly broken. You know, if a game's not ready, don't bring it out. You know, as much as it might hurt you to not release on the date you've already set out, people are going to be more accepting of a game that's delayed but works then comes out and doesn't work. So I'm for loot boxes and DLC and sort of microtransactions, in if they're done right, like you say, in terms of Overwatch and things like that. But when you're paying to win, or they're clearly putting something that's an elongated timescale with the intention of, they're going to buy that to make it easier to do, that's just clearly cynical. And like you say, it's the publishers, not the devs, who are doing it, and it's people, like I say, it's people in a boardroom who are making that choice, and it goes straight. It's straight into the shareholders, straight into their back pockets. The devs don't see it, and I think it is a practice that I think if EA are doing it, I think the others are going to start following suit in terms of listening to people more, because they clearly do listen to people. It's just I think sometimes they still see people as little pound symbols or dollar signs, don't they? Which we are at the end of the day. You know, business. You know, they need to make money. You know, it's not a case of they don't need to make money, but at the end of the day, it's not a given gaming. And like you say, it's you know, it's expensive these days. You know, for consoles and for games as well. You know, it's people's hard-earned money, and people are getting more sensible now, and everyone knows that we might as well be sponsored by Boomerang, because we've all got an active subscription to that, and if everyone suddenly went and rented the games instead, then you know, there'd be no games, because everyone would be renting and there'd be no money going into it. So, you know, it's in their interest to look after us as much as we look after them. So yeah, I'm glad that EA have done what they've done, and I hope people follow suit as well.
Absolutely. I just, like I say, I mean, it's really funny, because I think the gaming industry, we have this kind of shift every now and then. I mean, years ago it was the season pass, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that if you bought a game, if you bought a pre-owned game, you had to pay an extra £10 for the season pass. And then, you know, season passes started to be a thing. You want to play online, you got to play a season pass. So if you were an Xbox player, you had to pay Xbox Live, which is always good money well spent, and then you then had to buy a season pass on top of that for some games, and then everybody balked at that idea, and then the games industry backtracked, and then they said, no, we're not going to do that anymore, no more season passes. And then season passes have now been replaced with loot boxes are the new season passes. We had DLC, everyone was arguing about day one DLC. You know, there was nothing worse than firing up Gears of War or something like that to download a tiny little patch that unlocked DLC. You know, it's like, oh, we've got new DLC out 2 months after release, and it was the tiniest of tiny patches, because you knew all of that was on the disc already. You know, but there was those things, and the gaming public we revolted against those, and they stopped doing that. And I'm with you. I like DLC. One of our stories a bit later on is about Destiny 2, and I like, if it's going to continue, if it's going to bring me back where I'm not. Forza's my go-to game when I've got a moment. Star Wars Battlefront is also going to be my go-to game, but I don't have time to just keep playing multiplayer on Destiny, but I have time for Nicola and I to sit down and play a new story in Destiny. So keep making that content, keep making me come back, and I'm happy for that, and I'll give you my money. I already have, in Destiny's case. I've already paid for that season pass. So I'm already happy with that. I'm already happy with that DLC. So that's it, and it's stuff like that you can be clever with it. You summed it up perfectly, where you can be clever with it, but don't see us as a bottomless pit, because there are some people that will play to win. There are some people that having Darth Vader means a lot to them. Nerfing everyone, being top of the stats, being that's what they want to do. So they might put £10 in to kind of unlock Vader. But for me, and for a lot of people playing Star Wars Battlefront, it's just a case of, I want to jump in, I want to see these new worlds, I want to play as a stormtrooper, and it's all good. And that's kind of where I am with it, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Star Wars means a lot to a lot of people,
Yes.
So they need to be careful with what they're doing with it, because, at the end of the day, it's a big franchise, and yes, it's kind of getting a big audience now because of the new movies, but like us, I wasn't around when the original movies came out, but even me, I love the old movie, the original movies, and it means a lot to a lot of people. So to kind of tarnish Star Wars, and ruin that experience, that could easily mean people don't go for EA anymore, or any future releases as well. So I think it's in their own interest, like you say, to do fan service and do it well, but like treat us as loyal fans and customers, not just bottomless pits of money. So but it's good to see them taking it on board. I'm glad to see that, because it'd be quite easy to say, no, we're not changing it. It's not even out yet. How do you know it's a problem?
Exactly.
Like you say, there can't be 600,000 people playing it yet, can they? Surely.
Exactly. But the thing is, I guess one of the things that EA has to be careful about is that the bean counters at Marvel. Disney, not Marvel, but Disney, they're seeing this, and their IP, their beloved IP that they paid billions for, is the new games out, and everyone should be rejoicing. But the first time they released Battlefront, everyone had a moan, because it was like, this is great. And then after about 5 minutes, they're like, yeah, there's no single-player campaign, I don't like it. So they fixed that, and yet this time there's a hubbub.
Something.
And exactly. Yeah. So if you're someone at Disney, you might go, do you know what? Maybe we won't give EA this license. Maybe we'll give it. We'll give the Star Wars license to someone else. So EA have to be careful, because they could be, as you say, they could be tarnishing their reputation, but they could also be Marvel. I keep saying Marvel. Disney are very protective of the Star Wars franchise. They announced this week that they're going to have 3 more movies.
Yeah,
3 more non-Skywalker movies with Rian Johnson at the helm. There's going to be a TV show that's going to be in their own Disney Netflix. They're going to make their own Netflix. They're not going to put their stuff on Netflix. They're going to make their own. So they're incredibly protective of this IP. And if someone's ruining it, they'll just move on and they'll go to someone else.
Yeah, of course they will. And like you say, that they've paid so much money for it, but they've probably nearly got the money back already.
Yes.
Because look how much money Star Wars makes. It's huge, and they paid stupid money for it, but with good right, because it makes so much money. And like you say, they could easily just pull the plug and say, yeah, thanks for what you've done, but they might even do it themselves. Because Disney have dabbled in video games before, and they've either easily got the money to recruit a good studio, to get the a lot of talent in, and bring it towards, because there's been a lot of Star Wars projects that have been cancelled recently, and they could easily bring them back to life, or get those creative minds and do their own thing, and and build their own sort of video game sort of empire, as it were. But yeah, it's it's difficult when you've got a big franchise, isn't it? It's like if they suddenly did Lord of the Rings again, it'd be when there's a big franchise that means a lot to people, it's difficult to bring your own perspective and make it new and fresh, isn't there? So But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It'll still sell because it's Star Wars, and it will be, and it's good to see. But whether or not they do something else off the back of what's happened, maybe say, we've a couple of maps we've brought out for free or something. It is a little gesture, that might be nice.
Yes.
But we'll see what EA have got sort of in the future, the crystal ball that is EA, to see what's the next plans are for the next 6 to 12 months.
Yes, indeed. Right, should we jump into the rest of the news?
Yeah, we've kind of dwelled on that, haven't we? I think. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It was a good discussion.
Star
Thank
Wars
you very much.
special.
That was really cool. Yeah, exactly. That's going to be the
that's
Star
us
Wars
now.
Spark special.
That's it. Bye. Yeah.
Name of the podcast locked in.
Yeah.
Right, so let's start the news section. And in this week's news section, Mario is about to make the jump onto the big screen. The Game Award nominations are in, and also, as I was alluding to earlier, Destiny 2 is getting an update. But the first piece of news, Steve, is with you.
Yeah. So did you said there, Mario seems to be maybe getting a big screen outing again, and hopefully a lot better than the shocking movie that he got some 20 years ago with what was his name? I get this the Cockney guy. What was his name now?
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins. That's the one. Yeah. What was going on there? Whoever made that movie, still to this day, it's just painful, isn't it? It reminded me when I read this. I forgot it was a thing, and I watched the trailer. I watched some clips from it when I saw this bit of news break, and I watched it again. It's like, it's painful. That thing is painful to watch, and thankfully, it seems that they are going to be going down the animated route this time. So
yes,
from the article, they're obviously the Mario, the world, and the rides that are going to be coming in some of the Universal theme parks is kind of they seem to be in talks with Universal as well. So it kind of makes sense really that if they do a movie, then that's going to translate into the theme park as well. So how an animated Mario movie will work when he doesn't speak, and they don't speak, whether it's going to be fully subtitled or not, I don't know. Whether Mario might get a full voice,
yes.
I don't think he will, because Mario traditionally doesn't have a voice, and we don't want to ruin another franchise like he have done with Star Wars. But so it'll be interesting to see what happens. That it's not been confirmed yet. It's kind of just they're kind of in final stage of agreements. They're almost signing on the dotted line. But it's interesting to see what will happen, because it's Nintendo, so it will be popular. But I think some movies have been coming out just for the sake of doing movies recently. When you've had the likes of the Angry Birds movie and the Emoji movie and things like that. It's like you don't want it just to be a movie because it's the thing that needs to be done. Because, like I say, it's 20 years ago since Mario did a movie, and there's nothing really else that Mario could do apart from his own Netflix TV show. So
yes.
The screen is kind of the next sort of spiritual home, or the next sort of grounds to test. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I mean, inevitably it'll be Bowser steals Peach, Mario's got to rescue Peach, sort of thing. But what they do in the meantime to get from the start to the end, it'd be interesting to see if it follows any of the games as well. Because again, without going into the Mario special territory here, there's so many Mario games to draw from. Whether or not it'll just be kind of fan service or not, I don't know. But watch this space. I think it's worth keeping an eye on at any rate, and mentioning to know that it's going to be a thing. Because it's definitely, while the going's good for Nintendo, it definitely makes sense as well. While, like I say, with a year when Mario's come back and is bigger than ever, makes sense. So watch this space.
It does. It's quite interesting because Illumination's the studio that has been kind of added, and they're the studio that's behind Minions.
Yes, that's right.
They made the Minions, so they've got a good pedigree. I haven't seen Despicable Me 3 yet, but I like 1 and 2. I like the Minion movie was okay, was good fun. But I think the only rule that they have to adhere to is that they have to have Charles Martinet. Is it Charles Martinet? Charles Martinet, who is the voice of Mario. I think he has to be the voice of Mario. I don't think you can have anyone else. I think similar to Optimus Prime and the Michael Bay movies, you had to have Peter Cullen. And I think you have to have Charles Martinet in here. You can't have Al Pacino or
Bob Hoskins, doing his
we can't have Bob Hoskins anymore anyway, because he's gone. He passed away a couple of years ago.
A dub Bob Hoskins, as it were. Yeah.
Do you know the weird thing about that? Fun fact, we've had hot tip from you. Fun fact from me is that in that movie, in the 1993 movie, Mario's surname was Mario.
Mario.
He was Mario. So Bob Hoskins was Mario, and John Luigi Armour was Luigi Mario.
Okay. Was that their own thing? I've never heard of this before.
I don't know if that's canon. I don't know if that's canon.
No, because I've never heard of that before. I thought it was just because they went by the first name and that was it. But yeah, Mario seems a bit of a cop-out, doesn't it, really? It's not very creative, you know, and I think Mario's kind of just a thing that you accept that he has a first name and that's it. You know, a
bit like Prince.
Yeah,
you know, that's it. It's just
he doesn't need a surname, does he? He's happy being Mario and just leave him like that. Yeah, well,
exactly.
Yeah, that's pub quiz knowledge, that isn't it?
There you go.
What was Mario's
Charles
surname?
Martinet. Yeah, Charles Martinet was the voice. Mario's surname in the film was Mario. There you go. Remember that. Yeah, commit that, because that's going to come up one Sunday night in the pub.
Yeah, that'll be just one of them things that you just wheel out on sort of like Boxing Day or something, won't it? When you see it, it's like,
yes,
here's a fun fact for you, and nobody cares about it, but it's those things that stick in your mind, isn't it? Not the important stuff. It's always the useless bits of knowledge, little knowledge bomb.
Absolutely. If I could dump all the Star Wars trivia that I have in my head for actually good stuff that would, that I could use for work, I would be a genius.
Yeah, I know.
I would be a genius.
Yeah, I know.
Right then.
And it always says I'm good at name that tune as well. So like it just plays the start of a song. I'll name it within like 3 seconds, and it's like where this knowledge comes from, I don't know. It's just like you say, if you just got rid of that, you just think what you could do. You could just genius, couldn't you?
You could rule the world.
Exactly.
You could I think my special power... Did you ever play Seen It?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Right, so you know the bit in Seen It where you had to guess the poster?
Yes.
I used to make my family so angry because there would literally be a corner of the poster. Bob, done. Yeah. I know what that is. They were like, how? How do you know what that is?
It's a tiny bit of blue poster. How can you know which movie it's from?
I'm like... Twins, I think it's spent a lot of time looking at things like DVD box office or upcoming DVD covers where I've just got used to the poster and they're all ingrained in my head. But that was my special power.
Yeah, so between us we can name the movie poster and name the tune. So we just need somebody else, and we've got a good trio going on there, haven't we?
Exactly, we're sorted.
Yeah.
We're sorted. Right, next piece of news is with me, and this is quite a nice one. I quite like it. Just in time for Christmas, just in time for the holiday season. Microsoft have started to roll out, or I believe they have now rolled out, because when I was reading this, they were just rolling out to the kind of alpha ring, but this is now rolled out to everyone, that you can now gift a game or a piece of DLC to another Xbox player. So someone who has an Xbox, you can gift them through the dashboard. You have an option now to gift. Now, this option has come from one of my favourite sites, which is the Xbox feedback site. So this got about 5,000 likes, 5,000 votes on the site, and it's been placed into the latest build. So you can basically just go to a game and go, here you go, here's Star Wars Battlefront, and then you can gift that to that person. The great thing about this is that if that person already had that game, so you already had Star Wars Battlefront, you can go, I've already got that, return it back to the person who bought it, and they get a refund.
Oh, that's good.
So they've again, Microsoft are kind of their thinking at the moment. The whole being maybe behind in the console wars. They are actually they're really kind of what can we do? So I thought it's really good. You can just say, here you go, here's some content. You should play this game. I remember kind of way back when the 360 started. I'm not sure if you could do this, but you used to be able to kind of highlight a game in maybe that you were playing, and you could send a message to your friend going, you should play this game. It's amazing, and it would send a link to the store. But this is, you can actually go, here you go, you should play this, and then you could then send a gift. And I just thought this is really cool. This was going to be part of a bigger update. It was going to be part of a bigger update that would bring new avatars. Have you seen these new avatars?
No, I haven't, but I think have they gone back to sort of early 2018 now? Have they been sort of pushed back, haven't they? I haven't seen anything on them. I see them making a big deal out of it, but I mean, what more can an avatar do? Because you can already dress him up. I think mine's had dancing penguins. A portal gun and a cube. A companion cube. I mean, what's the crack now? What can you do now?
Well, I think it's still the same. I think it's still, you can just wear, you can wear shirts and t-shirts and hats and paraphernalia from your favourite game. But the avatars they look Pixar quality.
Yeah.
They look, from the screenshots, they look Pixar quality. And one of the fantastic things that they've done as well is they've also included kind of transgender clothing that can be worn by kind of male or female avatars, but they've also included able body as well. So you can have a wheelchair avatar. So if you're in a wheelchair, your avatar can now represent you. They've even got ones with prosthetic arms and legs as well, and they look badass. So they have things like that. So they've, again, they've kind of really taken, they've really looked at what they can do and how they can progress. But I was just impressed at the quality of these avatars, and they look so they were supposed to be launching. I'm guessing you could kind of think that Microsoft's plan was probably to release these brand new avatars, all of this stuff on the new system, ready for the Xbox One X, alongside Crackdown 3. You could imagine that was going to be their release of the Xbox One X. It was going to be Crackdown, new avatars, new dashboard. There you go. It's all cool. And then things just happened. I deal with projects all the time, and projects get delayed, and things that are out of your control just stops a project. So you could just imagine all this kind of dropping away, but they're like, don't worry, we've still got the console and it's awesome. So they just kind of push that out. But yeah, you're right. I think it's early 2018 we're going to get these. But these avatars, I'll stick a link to this post that's on Xbox Wire, and I'll stick a link of that in the show notes, because it's just really good to see the avatars, and also kind of gives you a step-by-step of how you can use the gifting service.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Steam kind of did this to start with, didn't they? I'm not a huge PC gamer, but I remember seeing that on Steam, that you could buy 2 copies of the game for a reduced price, and you could gift one to somebody, and it's good, like you say there, to buy it, and then somebody said, I've already got it, but the person who's bought it, take it back and get a full refund. But they could easily say, oh no, sorry, you should have checked before you bought it, and that's probably what would happen if you bought it at retail, because some stores, I imagine, wouldn't let you take it back, outside the sort of Christmas returns period just for a duplicate, would they? So it's a good idea, and it's nice to see, because there are some generous people out there that said, what, yeah, I've got a spare copy of it, or you buy me this and buy one the next time, so it is a really good thing to do, I think, and it's nice to see, like you say, Microsoft kind of accepting that they've not necessarily been the forerunner in this generation, but putting the things in place to kind of make it the all-round place to be. Because, like you say, with Tyson with these avatars, doesn't it, encompassing a more broad spectrum of gamers, and people from different sort of aspects of life and different qualities and tastes and things like that. So it is really good to see them now rolling out, because gaming's a big thing now, and it's not the sort of people locked in the bedrooms playing sort of just on the PC now. Gaming's a big thing to a lot of people now, and it's becoming the sort of the more accepted medium, isn't it? So that there's more and more people playing games every day. So it's good to see Microsoft tapping into that market and making it open to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really cool, so I can't wait for these to come out. But yeah, like I say, for the gifting stuff, it's really interesting, because like my brothers are like that. I'm like, oh, have you played Forza? And then my brother's like, no, I haven't really got round to it. I'll do it next time I'm out. At the moment he's got like 2 foot of snow. He lives in Canada. Oh, wow. One of my brothers lives in Canada, so he's got 2 weeks old. And for some reason they don't do digital, so I'm just like, look, it would be easy for me to look, just bloody have Battlefront. Let's play some Star Wars together, and just give it to him. So I'll probably give it to him more out of frustration than anything else. I'm like, just play it, and just like, but it's really cool. It's really cool. So the next piece of news, sir, is with you.
Yeah, and a bit more sort of a sad and sombre note, but not an altogether unsurprising one. It came out yesterday that gamers posted quite a significant loss in their takings of £10 million, wow. And it's by no stretch of the imagination that a small amount of money. Whilst it is sad, and it's game will always hold a place for me, because I worked there albeit for right. 8 months. But I worked there, and I can see firsthand what it's like to work in game retail. But given the market we're in, it's not altogether unsurprising. Games for the last sort of 5-6 years struggled with finances, with consoles and games, and the economy not been as stable and as strong as it has in the past generation cycle. It's hit them quite hard. And being a game retailer and not selling anything else but video games, they've got nothing to prop themselves up on beyond consoles and software. And if they have a bad year, that's it, that wipes them out. But it's good in a way to see them proactively trying to try new things. They've recently released their game Belong, arenas. So a select few stores. I think there's 18 across the country now have got gaming arenas in there, and the one in York that's the closest to where we are. I went there with a group of friends from a Facebook group I'm part of. We went and had a session on new COD Zombies, and they gave us an hour free. And it's a brilliant thing because they've got PCs, they've got Xbox Ones, they've got PS4s. They're all set up ready to go, and you can pay for just time to play there. And it's even if you just pay for an hour, just to go and have a game with other people who enjoy playing games and just to play against other people. It's a good thing to get people out and in the stores, and they've got York in particular had their own esports team as well. So it's good to see them try new things, to get into a market that's, like I say, not very strong and difficult when you've got the likes of supermarkets now who have a strong video game presence. Amazon, who sell games for sometimes sub RRP. When game are always, and it saddens me when these things get shared that this, buy game, this is the end, and I'm not sad to see a game go on, and they are, there's Grange Games, things like that, but they are, the biggest game retailer and been there for the longest amount of time, and it's sad to see them struggle because, like I say, they've got nothing else to prop them up, no. and they get a bad rap because of the prices, but they have to be high. They have to be, because, like I say, they admit that, key point in example was this: they were selling the new COD for $53.99 when I went in there the other week, and it's like, it is expensive, but they have to. They have to do, because they can't afford to sell it for $39.99 or whatever, because they're not making any money out of it. They buy it for a higher price and have to sell it at a higher price, whereas Amazon can afford to sell it lower because they do everything. You've got Amazon Prime, you've got all the Kindles and everything. They can do it, and as can Tesco and Sainsbury's and other supermarkets, because they're loss leaders of video games to them. They'll sell volumes and make small margins on them, but they've got other things that they can sell that make them money. So it's quite a drastic and dramatic fall from where they were last year, and it'll be interesting to see what the future does hold for them, because I don't think they're going to be there forever, and I think the number of stores that they have will shrink again. Like I say, they have a big presence, because in the local cities that I have nearby, there's a number of stores scattered around, and I think it will drop again if the profits do drop, which will be a shame. But it'd be good in a way, I think, to see maybe bigger stores that maybe sort of merge into one, that have these bigger arenas so they can host their own events and venues, and maybe have more of these sort of setups for consoles and PCs to say, do you know what, we've got 30 PCs in this big store, we're going to host a tournament. That's going to drag people in and get people in. So it's I think there is a positive in the negative, but by the same token, it's sad to see them struggle, I think. And like I say, I don't like it when people sort of hate on game, because if you don't want to shop there, don't shop there. There's plenty of other places where you can get your games, but they do make an effort to sell other things beyond games. They've got the merch and other bits and bobs, and they had a brief stint in the tech thing, to kind of sort of go shoulder to shoulder with CEX, but that didn't work out. But hopefully there's a future for games somewhere. Maybe it's all digital or still in retail, but we'll see.
Yeah. Absolutely, it probably didn't help them, did it? They've had, there's been 2 new consoles this year, which has been the Xbox One X and the Nintendo Switch, where the Nintendo Switch has been really hard to get hold of. I know when I got my Switch from Game, and they only had 6. So, you got a brand new console, everybody wants it, it's the new hotness, it's selling like hotcakes on eBay, but they've only got 6, so that doesn't help, that doesn't help them, because surely at that point, they should be the highlights of their year. It should be, Christmas, Call of Duty probably, but it should definitely be kind of Christmas and when a new console comes out. So when the new console comes out, which is a Nintendo Switch, you can't get it for love nor money, you keep going back to Game going, you got any? And they're like, no, we haven't got any. And so you're going to just put a pre-order on Amazon, aren't you? Because that's like, when it comes in, they'll ship it to you rather than keep going back and forwards to that. So I can see where that's probably hit them. And also, the Toys to Life has died a death as well. Where we're losing, we've lost Lego Dimensions. There's no more Disney Infinity. There's been no Skylanders this year either. So you've got all of these kind kind of tentpoles that they probably bank on year after year are now kind of going away. So it must be that you can see why they're struggling, because all of their revenue streams are probably are kind of closing up, and it irks me that when you hear people going, I really wanted an Xbox One on day one. I went into game, couldn't get one, but then you look on eBay and there's people selling them for £700.
Yeah.
You know, and that is always just like, that kind of kills me, because that's like someone who really wanted it, maybe is not as savvy as the likes of you and I, and to do all the pre-ordering and all of that. So they go in, oh, I've just heard someone at work got an Xbox One and an Xbox One X, and it sounds awesome, or a Nintendo Switch. You know, when I took my Nintendo Switch in, a couple of guys was like, oh yeah, it's not very good, is it? And then 5 minutes looking at it, because I didn't let them touch it, you know, they were like, oh, I wouldn't mind one of those, but they couldn't go in that Saturday and pick one up because they're not around, you know. And by the time when Game says, oh, we'll have one in about a month's time, that zeitgeist, that bubble has burst, so they're not even thinking about it anymore. You know, they've gone away now, and they've lost that revenue. So yeah, you can see kind of where maybe the publishers, the manufacturers have maybe let them down, and I bet if you look across the pond, it's probably the same story for the likes of GameStop and the likes of those as well, where they're struggling because they are competing with the mighty Amazon, you know, with the mighty supermarkets as well, the Walmarts, the Asdas, the Tesco's, that are just there. You know, it's so easy. You're walking around Sainsbury's on a Sunday, and there it is. There's Call of Duty right there. You know, you can just pick it off the shelf. You know, that's it. It's there. You know, it's there at 8:00 at night, and so yeah. So it's a shame. You're right. It would be a shame to see Game disappear from the high street, because Tunbridge Wells, it's the other day when I was trying to find, I think it was maybe about 6 months ago, I wanted a game and I needed it that day because it was a present for someone, and they didn't have a copy of it in Game, and there was nowhere else I could go to. I went into HMV, they didn't have any games. You know, went into Argos, they didn't really have a big game section. You know, it was I had to really search to find that game, and that was a little bit sad to see how such an amazing pastime and a entertainment leader actually struggling you can't pick up like the latest Call of Duty because the game have sold out and there's nowhere else on the high street. So it would be a shame to see him go, but like I say, maybe they do need to just diversify a little bit.
Yeah, and I know for just a brief experience of working there that digital was a big thing to them, but it's the same thing, you know, with a strong, you know, digital is ever expanding. And, you know, I think we touched upon it last week with Assassin's Creed sales being quite high digitally. Why would you go to a store to buy something digitally when you can buy it from your home? You know, you can buy it sat at home. So it's something they need to do somewhere. Is, you know, somewhere on the line, like say what they do. You know, I'm sure they'll have people sat, you know, in head office somewhere thinking of new ideas to kind of think of new revenue streams. But like I say, it comes to something when, like you say, there's these new consoles, these new games, and they are solely selling, you know, they are an expert in selling video games, and that's what they do, and you can't get it from them. You know, it's you know that's going to put people off as you'd expect, because you think, well, Call of Duty came out or Switch has come out, and I can't buy it from there. So why would I go buy something else? Because they don't have it. Yeah. You know, so it will switch a lot of people off, I think. But like I say, hopefully there's some sort of future for them, albeit we don't know what. But yeah, we'll see what the future holds for them.
Yeah, maybe they need to do something similar to Boomerang. You know, maybe like a monthly subscription service where you get the latest games, you know, stuff like that. Maybe that's kind of, imagine if Game had something like that, you know, because Boomerang, even though there's a high percentage of us and you know and some of our listeners that use Boomerang, they're probably still relatively unknown because they don't exactly advertise kind of outside of Twitter, and I just heard it through word of mouth. So it's I think it was you that was on Twitter, and I think you kind of like, oh boo, I was like, what's this? You know, and then found it, and then this is fantastic. You know, and I've saved a lot of money, so thanks, Steve. Yeah. I've saved a lot of cash. But yeah, so maybe they need to do something like that. Maybe that will help them kind of get over a bump. But I don't know if it will. I don't know if it will make them 10 million.
No, probably not 10 million, but maybe to slow things down a little bit. You know, maybe stop them hemorrhaging money like they seem to have done. But yeah, there's got to be something. There's got to be something there, because you know not every retailer is struggling, but they survived for now. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of ideas they come up with to keep them sort of their heads above water for the next sort of couple of years.
Indeed. So from sad news from Game to more upbeat news, which is celebrating the gaming industry, and it's time for it's that time of the year again for the Games Award 2017. Jeff Keighley, the ambassador of gaming's out there. He has this week he went to Twitter, Facebook, everywhere where he could put his face, and he announced the nominations for this year's Game Awards. I'll stick a link in the show notes. It's really good to kind of get on there, cast your vote, and vote for your favourite games. The Game Awards is on the 7th of December, and it's going to be streamed wherever you can stream something. It will be streamed. It's going to be 4K on Mixer. It's not called Mixer anymore, is it? What's it called on?
It's changed, didn't it?
Yeah. But it's gonna be whatever that is, whatever it was. Maybe it is Mixer. Yeah. Or it's 4K on your Xbox One X, or it's going to be 4K on your Xbox One S as well. If you're if you're plugged up to a 4K TV, and I guess other streaming services will also be 4K. But it's going to be on the it's in the US, it's in LA, so it's always a late one. I'm always staying up to watch it because it's good to watch the Game Awards, because not only do you get to see all of these kind of games being applauded, but also it's quite cool because they always have new trailers or announcements. We had Arkham was the Batman games have always been announced there, and Rocksteady have been quiet for a while. They owe us they owe us
something.
A Justice League game. Yeah, exactly. So you never know. You never know. You always get that. Borderlands 3 has been quiet for a while. Come on, give us some Borderlands. And also Jeff Keighley and Hideo Kojima are quite kind of they're best buds, aren't they? They had a bit of a touching moment last year. Yeah, exactly. there was tears. So maybe we'll get some more Death Stranding this year as well. But so I'll put a link to the Game Awards. Have you seen the awards? Have you had a look at the awards and kind of what's up?
Yeah, and it's kind of the ones that I've seen. The games that you'd expect to be up there are up there. And for me, like I said last week, I'm not a big Nintendo fan, but it's hard to see past Nintendo for this year's awards. For me, if you look at what they've delivered in terms of what they've brought, if just between Mario Odyssey and Zelda, you've got two games there that you could literally play all year with the hours of replay value in there, and two easy contenders for like overall game of the year from Nintendo is surely unheard of for quite a while. So there's there's quite a lot of categories out there. There's quite a few. I think there's a few games in there as much as you did expect as that you might not expect as well. So there's quite a bit of exposure for the other guys in the industry as well, which is quite nice to see. And like you say, it's a nice thing to have is the awards. Where, like you say, because you get the nice announcements in between as well, and like I say, for the smaller guys out there that even just get nominated, just to go there and to get the name out there, just to see in the list of nominations that them in that list, people say, oh, I've never heard of them before. I'll check those guys out. So for them, I think it's a big thing for everyone in the industry, but those guys in particular, and especially when we're getting a growing sort of independent scene and smaller developers coming to the table to rubbing shoulders with the big guys. It's nice to have.
Absolutely. Some of the standouts, I think, as you were saying, it's good to see Nintendo back. It's actually good to see Nintendo in the kind of game of the year. They're in the game of the year talk rather than just in the family game where they have been for a while, or best handheld or best family game. So I'm not going to go through all of the awards, but just to kind of couple, there was two that I wanted to just highlight. Like I say, I will put the full link in the show notes. But the first one that I wanted to highlight was the Game of the Year. So Game of the Year, they have five items, 5 games this year, and that is, we've got Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey. It'd be interesting. They're kind of almost pulling each other apart for the votes, aren't they? It's like Nintendo. They were, we've got Zelda and Mario. We've also got PlayerUnknown's Battleground. So PUBG is in there. A lot of people are kind of up in arms about that because it's still in beta, but it's actually actually I think it's going to version 1.0 on Steam very soon, and my view is it's out. You can play it. It's a video game. Yeah. Yeah. If you can actually pick up a keyboard and mouse, obviously you can't pick up a controller yet. If you can pick up a keyboard and mouse, you can play it. It's a game. Persona 5 is also in that list, and then rounding the list up is kind of everyone's kind of almost anti-Zelda, and that is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
So, and that's still a game. That I don't have time for it, but it's a game that still irks that I haven't played it, because I started playing it. I took a day off work to play it. I loved that day, and I played it all day, and it looked amazing on the PlayStation Pro, and I was happy as Larry. And then Zelda came out, and then I played Zelda, and it broke video games for me, and I couldn't get back to it. So that's kind of Horizon Zero Dawn, and then there's lots more. They have audio design, performance, games for impact, which I really liked. Best mobile games, best handheld games. VR gets a kind of mention in there as well. And like I say, I'll stick a link to the show notes. They've got best multiplayer, but one category that stood out was the most anticipated games, and the kind of the bump around this is awarded to an upcoming game that has shown significant ambition and promise. The title must be announced and scheduled for release after December the 7th. Quite interestingly, it's Last of Us Part 2, which I don't think will be out in 2018, but Last of Us Part 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Monster Hunter World, Marvel Spider-Man, and God of War. Now, that's a great bunch of titles. I can't wait for Spider-Man, but all of those, apart from Red Dead Redemption, are PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah, and it's a mixed bag, isn't it, of different types of games as well. But yeah, like you say, it's good for Sony, it's good for PlayStation that they are exclusive, but like I say, it's a very varied and mixed bag, isn't it? For me, in that lineup, it has to be, Red Dead. I don't think there's anyone that isn't excited about Red Dead. I think it's impossible to not be excited about Red Dead. And whether or not we see it next year or it gets delayed is, it's yet to be seen. But the anticipation and the hype is definitely building after we had that trailer for it this year. So, but like you say, that's just the beauty of it. I think is it's just to see what other games are coming, and I think whether or not they do it on purpose to sort of vary the games that they put in the list, but it's nice. It's nice to see, like you say, you've got Spider-Man there, you've got Red Dead in there, Last of Us 2 Part 2 in there. There's something for everyone in that, isn't there? So it's nice to see, and it gets the excitement, and anticipation going for things that maybe people didn't know about, or the easier things are to go for the big sort of the third party sort of games that you'd expect year in year out, aren't they? So I think it brings things to the fore that maybe you'd easily kind of forget about going into next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. There's something there for everyone, apart from Phil Spencer. Yeah, because there's no Xbox games in there. You've obviously got a third-party title, Red Dead Redemption 2, but this actually, if I was Phil Spencer, I'd have that screenshot printed out, stuck on my door, and going with a post-it saying next year, in that square, because that's got to be his goal to get a first-party Microsoft title in that list of most anticipated.
Crackdown's not in there, but by the same token, we've not seen much about it, though, have we? It's easy to put in there, but by the same token, you can see why it's not, because we know it's a thing. We know the destruction is in the single player, but not the multiplayer. Is that right? The right way around? I think I've got it. But
I think that's right. I think you're right.
Has it got Terry Crews in it as well? Or he features in the trailer, and that's all we know. That's all we know. So, we know it's a thing, and we know the orbs coming back, and everyone's just like the moons in Mario. Everyone's going to spend forever and a day collecting the orbs, but that's it. And we know it's going to be 4K, and it's going to look wonderful in 4K. But again, that's it. And I think that's kind of maybe a good thing, because, not to overhype it and, not play its cards too early. But by the same token, people can get excited by something when they know more about it. So if they, give us some sort of, this is new, this is what it's going to have, something to give us to go on, then that might be in there. But like you say, it's definitely something that I'm sure they'll be picking up on next year, because that surely makes or sets their benchmark and the stall out for the following year to say, this is going to be our year. We brought you the Xbox One X, but in 2018 this is what we're going to deliver. And if they had like 3 or 4 in there like Sony do, it's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, the one game I'm surprised that's not in there, because at E3, bear in mind that the Game Awards it's a bit like the Oscars, they're all voted by selected games media.
Yeah.
So everyone from the selected games media, they all get to solicit a vote, and then the most votes kind of become part of these awards. And Crackdown didn't have a good E3 showing, did it?
No.
A lot of people were saying it doesn't look great, that's why they've gone back and said they're going to polish it up and 4K it and do all of that sort of stuff. But whenever I listen to a podcast after E3, and I do consume a lot of them, everyone was excited about Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
When everyone was like, I've just been hands-on with Sea of Thieves, and I bloody love it, it's fantastic, it's great fun with a group, it was so funny. And I'm surprised that Sea of Thieves didn't make it in here. I'm surprised that it didn't make it in, because it is, you were just hearing positive hype about it. And people, I think with that game, it's once you get your hands on it, you kind of realise just how much fun it is. And you realise, like, when we were playing The Division, when we've been playing kind of multiplayer, it's like when you're together with a group of people, that works fine. We had some evenings playing The Division, and it just worked beautifully. We were just a crack team where we could just, and jumping into the alpha of Sea of Thieves, I've had a similar kind of experience where on your own, no one wants to talk to you, but when you're with your mates, this is actually really good fun. And it looks amazing. And then the last category that I'll talk about is best independent game. And so the best independent game, always good to kind of call out the indies, and we got Pyre. So Pyre's in there from Supergiant Games. Night in the Woods, which is supposed to be really good, and it's coming to Xbox soon. So I want to play. I think it's out on PlayStation at the moment, but it's coming to Xbox. Cuphead from Studio MDHR, which is a great game, really hard but really good. And then one of my favourites of this year, which is What Remains of Edith Finch. So quite a huge title for me, and for me that third spot in my game of the year is a toss up at the moment between Stardew Valley and probably What Remains of Edith Finch. And it really is. And then the last one in that is Hellblade: Sensuma's Sacrifice is the last for that kind of indie roundup. So a really good mixture of kind of indie games there. What gets your nod in that lot?
Cuphead interests me. I've not played it, but that art style, that just the way it looks, awesome. It's just the sort of, the 30s, 40s cartoon style, and just listening to the, the score behind it as well, it's just the whole thing about it as well, it's original, isn't it? It's, the clue's in the title, you guys are Cup, and it's just something that, somebody will have just thought of, and maybe just on the back of a beer mat at the pub or something, goes, I want to make that, and it works, and like you said, from what I've seen of it, it looks really hard. Maybe it's again, people not maybe finding it more difficult than they should, but I've seen the general consensus is that it is a tough game, and that's games are there for, to challenge you and to be fun at the same time. But I haven't played it, admittedly, but to me that is something that I will be playing at some point, because it just looks and sounds really, really nice. And like you say, it's nice to sort of champion these guys who are making these games, because one game can make or break them, and by all means they could make one game and never see from them again. But Microsoft have made a big deal about Cuphead, and I think maybe they got maybe sort of people questioned it because it was an indie game, and said, oh well, Microsoft are doing all these indie games, so where's the first party games? But there's a strong indie scene out there, and these guys, like I say, can easily pull, if they pull Cuphead out of the bag, what might they do in the future? They could bring us another gem, like you say, you've got, Stardew Valley and things like that as well. These games can consume a lot of hours, just because they are made by indies and they cost maybe £15. That doesn't mean they only last 5 hours. They could last forever. No. Like you said, Nicola's playing Stardew Valley. How long has she played that for in terms of actual real world time? So it's good to see. And yeah, Cuphead for me is one that looks like it's got it's got co-op in there as well, hasn't it? I think so it's got the
it has yeah. So, you can be Mugman.
Yeah, Mugman. Who doesn't want to be Mugman? So like you say, it's like the online thing, isn't it? I think co-op is coming back a little bit as well. And I think it needs to, because co-op does still have a place for in the gaming scene. I think for just if somebody comes round for the night, if just have if something like does Stardew Valley have co-op, or is it just single player, or?
Not yet. There will be a multiplayer mode is coming soon to Nintendo Switch, and I'm now following the guy on Scuttlefish Games, I think they're called. I'm following them on Twitter, and they put a picture last night actually of some new single player content, and multiplayer is on its way.
But yeah, just like that. Just imagine just don't be you coming home and just I'm just going to jump into Nicola's Stardew Valley and just help out, or or somebody else coming out and say, if you play this you'll want to buy it, and just giving them another set of Joy-Cons and just going off and farming together. So I think there's a lot to be said for the indie scene, and it's good to see them sort of championed, like I say, and to have its own spot there, because when even to get a nomination, these guys, if they get a trip out to to America, if they're not based in America, to go out there, it's an experience, isn't it? So it's good to see. It's nice to see.
So how are you with the games like Cuphead? With those kind of really tough Twitch-based kind of jumping games, because I have Cuphead and I'm enjoying it. I think I've got through the first boss, but I'm finding it hard. I'm finding it. You have to kind of almost leave all of your preconceived ideas at the door and actually play to its mechanics, like using parry and jumping on things, and really kind of instead of going, I'm just going to run through this level. You really have to. It will hand it to you if you do that.
Yeah, I mean, I like a game that makes me learn things. In terms of, like you say, leaving your preconception at the door. Like a lot of games you can pick up and play, and you could play like Call of Duty and Battlefield, for example. The stick layout's the same. The idea of the game's the same, but I like games that sort of make you forget that and just remind you that you aren't playing a game that's been done before. Yes, it will be frustrating, and I'm sure you've had the moments where you nearly pulled your hair out with it, but I think the industry needs that as much as anything, as much as everything else. Just a bit of sort of diversity, and for games to sort of have their own unique perks and twists, as it were, to say you can't just run through these levels, you need to learn things, and I've experienced the same thing with the Switch as well, with the games I've played like Neon Chrome and Time Recoil on there, is because the sticks are so sensitive on the Switch in terms of playing a top-down shooter, you need to learn the game and then sort of maybe play a level 3 or 4 times to learn the layout of the game, to get used to it, the level, the enemies, that sort of thing. And it's not a case of, it's too hard. I think it's just a case of just making you learn something new, and then just, giving you something to think about, rather than just, because it's easy to play a game and just play it and lose 4 hours and forget you were playing it, whereas the game's making you consciously think about what buttons you're pressing, and making you look at your controller and questioning your sort of your button selection. It's good to see. So yes, it would be frustrating, but I think rewarding at the same time, because then you've challenged yourself, haven't you? And you've overcome a challenge to get through that boss battle, or to complete the game, because that the boss isn't just hard for the sake of being hard. It's difficult because you've got to learn it, challenge yourself, and overcome it by doing that. So yeah, it's getting that balance, I think. Just like saying, with Call of Duty being a veteran, I think some games can just be hard for the sake of being hard, whereas we know it's difficult, but it's rewarding when you do it. So like I say, it's something that I want to play, and something I think I will enjoy. So hopefully it won't be too rage-inducing, that the pad gets launched at the window, or the TV. So yeah, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I was going to say, bubble wrap your joypad. That's all you need to do.
The entire room.
So just bounces. Yeah. You just throw it and it just bounces
straight back
to
in
you.
the head. Yeah. So, but that'll be my own fault. That you only learn the hard way, don't you? So we'll see. Yeah.
Have you ever destroyed a pad? Have you ever destroyed a joypad?
No.
I have.
No.
I have.
I've kind of got to the point where I've either hit it so hard, or maybe sort of gripped it so hard I've heard something crack, and maybe sort of twisting out of place, and gone, let's not push it. I think they kind of get to that. You want to break something, but when you've broken it, you think, I really didn't mean to do that. There's a dent in the wall or something. Someone comes up, what's that on the wall? It's like, I threw my pad at the wall. So I've never destroyed one, but I think I've left some visible scars on some. I think where you've hit it against the wall or something, and there's like a paint mark on it on the side of it. So yeah, there's some war wounds they've had. So cool.
That's so cool. I remember playing Resident Evil 1. The final boss of Resident Evil 1 was just rage-inducing, and it was like night after night after night of not being able to do it, and I almost did it, and then it killed me. The final boss on the helipad killed me, and I just threw my joypad down on the floor. So I don't know when it first came out, but I was just like, it was when it first came out on the PlayStation 1, and I threw because obviously then, at that point, they're tied to the console, so and I just threw it down to the floor. And as I did, I just saw this joypad just decimate.
Explode.
It just I was like, holy moly, I didn't realise that I had that much strength, and I just threw it down, and I've never done it since. But it was just that one time, and that was really like, oh, I just did that, and I was like, but I finished it, and when then I had to wait for the next day, go into Argos or EB, get a new controller, came back, and I completed it. I think I almost completed it like the first time after that, but I remember just kind of breaking that controller, and then
you needed
I was
that.
more respectful after that.
Yeah, that's what it was. After that, you completed it. You needed it to, therapy, gaming therapy.
Yes, that was the last time I raged. So it was just
quite a while ago. That surely, original Resi.
That's
a few years ago now, isn't it? So to get to this point, I think you've done all right.
Yeah, exactly. If ever I feel a rage coming on, I just put Viva Pinata on, and I'm just happy.
Back in your happy place.
Go to my happy place. Right, the final piece of news is with me, and that is that Destiny 2, we got some more detail about the new expansion for Destiny 2. That's Curse of Osiris. The new expansion is going to be out on the 5th of December, so 2 days before the Game Awards. It's going to be out on the 5th of December, so it'll be available to download separately as part of the Season Pass. It's also coming with a patch that will enable you to play HDR and 4K visuals on Xbox One X, HDR and checkerboard on the PlayStation 4. So there was a live stream last night. Bungie put out a live stream about the Curse of Osiris, and they were just looking at it. They were taking some questions. One of the questions asked if it was going to be a raid, and Bungie started to tease, and they said yes, there will be. They kind of stopped. They were a little bit kind of hesitant for a little bit, and then they said yes, there will be a raid, but it will be different. It's still going to take place on the Leviathan, where the current raid is, but this is going to take place in the lower level of the Leviathan, and it's going to be more bite size. So you may have heard on the pod, Steve, when James and I and our bunch of Guardians took on that, and we were playing for like 10 hours on a Sunday, and we never even finished it. This is going to be slightly different. It's going to be more kind of bite sized, and again, maybe like EA, they've taken some feedback and they're just kind of making it a little bit bite sized. So this is going to be, they've raised the cap, so they've raised the cap to get into this raid. So they're going to be, I think it's going to be set at 300, and then the prestige version is going to be 330. That's what I've got in my notes, so hopefully that's right. And so they have they've just raised the power level cap, which they do with every DLC, even with the original Destiny. There was always, with new DLC came the ability to just raise that cap. So it means you got to jump into Curse of Osiris, play a little bit of the campaign, kind of level up through that, and then you're kind of raid ready to go. So that's all coming not long, couple of weeks and change, and we'll have the first piece of DLC. They also dropped the hint that the second expansion will be out early 2018.
Wow, and it's good to see that, again, somebody taking the feedback on board, because that's, I got Destiny 2, and I did sacrifice it to buy Mario, which I'm not entirely disappointed with. I think that's a worthy sacrifice, but my only thing is that I wouldn't have the time to dedicate to the raid. I'd like to say to play 10 hours to not even finish it or to get through it. It's a lot of time to dedicate, but it's good to see, like you say, they've made it a bit more bite-sized. I think 4 hours is a bit more acceptable. Like you say, if you play on a Sunday or a weekend or an evening, if you've got spare to get a few guys together, or or a few friends together, I think that's more reasonable and feasible, I think. But it's nice and shiny on your 4K Xbox One X. Again, nice 4K update from there, so it's good. And I think they've learnt a lot of lessons from the first Destiny as well, haven't they? I think my issue with the first one was that when I played the beta, that was pretty much the full game. That was pretty much it. But I've played Destiny 2 briefly. I played the main campaign and got all the different planets that you could go to, and played it briefly with a couple of friends online. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. But it looked really nice, because it's obviously not limited by the previous gen now, is it? So obviously, with it being just on Xbox One and PS4, it looked really nice. A lot more stable, I found, than when the first one came out first time around as well. But it's good, I don't mind, like, if Destiny is going to make a good go of it, like, if you paid for this DLC or as part of the Season Pass, if it's going to hang around for a while, because I think, did Destiny 2 last a couple of years, I think, maybe? Is that about right?
But Destiny 1,
yeah.
Destiny 1 did. I mean, you had, like, the Taken King expansion, and they had 2 years, because I remember there being, like, they made a thing out of the second anniversary.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we had, like, kind of 2 years worth of content, and it definitely is a game that I kept going back to. Every time, my thing with Destiny is I never did a raid on the first one, so it was the first time I tried a raid, and it's really good because it is one that you just go back. Whenever there's new content, you just go back and play it again, and then just kind of continue playing, and that's what I've loved about it. There's my character waiting for me. I jump into this new expansion, new world, bit of story, new planets to explore, and then then do that, and then wait for the next one. Then go off and play other games, and then just wait for that to then go. Oh, we've got something new and shiny, and then I'll just go back and play it again.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like I said, with Destiny, like now Destiny 2's come out, there's not going to be another Destiny 3 for maybe another 3 years now. Maybe if depending how long they draw the content out for. But when you've got DLC for the likes of Call of Duty, Battlefield, things like that, there's going to be one next year. So it's a shorter wait time. But and for me personally, I don't mind paying for more content if it's going to see me over for a couple of years. And I'm not the biggest online gamer, mainly because of the connection that we've got here. But I wouldn't mind, in Destiny 2 something I can get into. Like you say, you could easily pick up and play the new content, then come back in 6 months' time with the new stuff drops, level up a few more levels, get a few more, nice bits of gear, and then just jump back in a couple more raids, which, and that's, that to me, sums up what a game should be. You should be able to come back to it, play some new stuff, jump back in and just get on with it. So yeah, it's so what sort of cost would that be outside of the season pass then? Have they said how much it would cost a standalone, or is it just sort of available as part of the season pass at the moment?
No, it's definitely available on its own. It's definitely available on its own, but I don't know. I think they're normally kind of about. I want to say $15.99 for some reason. In my head, I've got $15.99, but I could be wrong. I could just fact check. Hold up, I'm just gonna. But the good thing with the original Destiny was that you would go back in whenever they had the expansions, and you would actually feel like you've progressed because the light level changes. You finish the story. You've got new gear. You kind of come away at the end of that week or 2 weeks of playing it with a new bit, and you go, yeah, I'm good. I feel good. It doesn't make you feel like you've just left a whole load of stuff behind that you haven't done. So it always made you feel quite nice. Right, I'm just having a look here. So the expansion pass for Destiny is. Does it tell me? Oh, it doesn't tell me because I've already purchased it. You idiots. So, right, there we go. Expansion 1, Curse of Osiris. There we go. We have it. Doesn't tell me. I should have just Googled it. Nope, don't know. But I'm sure it's going to be around about $15.99.
Sounds
I'm
about
sure.
Right. I think that was the going rate from last time, wasn't it? And like I say, if that sees you over for 6 to 8 months, £15, I think, it's well spent, because like you say, it's got some new stuff in there, because I think the problem with Destiny 1 was that you were just retreading old ground, weren't you? That you were just playing the same things again and again and again, waiting for new content to drop, whereas this, it's got more of the, the random public events, and the maps and the areas are bigger. So I think there's always going to be something that you can do that you've maybe... you've not played before, because I mean the one thing I remember from Destiny 1 is playing when you were, I can't remember which planet it was on now, when you had to defeat the big servitor, the big purple orb,
Yes.
How many times you'd have to do that thing, or play the same levels again and again and again, and it's like, there's only so many times you can do that thing before you kind of just go, I can't do that again. I can't defeat that guy again. So, but yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. So, but yeah, it's nice to see, and albeit that I like I said, I sacrificed Destiny 2 for Mario. When something like it did before, maybe the complete version comes out. Or maybe there's, when the second content pack comes out and I've got a bit more to go at, and by which time we'll be in our own house and better internet, I'll jump back on board. It's not something I've just, I've actively or proactively avoided because I don't do online gaming, but it's just something that, if I had more opportunity to play it online and more time to dedicate to it, as it were, I'd definitely be in with it.
Absolutely. Just for completion, the Destiny 2 expansion pass is $29.99. I can't find them singly, but that includes 2 DLC. So that's $29.99. So I reckon the $15.99, which is my rough guesstimate, is probably about spot on.
Yeah, sounds about right, doesn't it? And like I say, £30 for at least 2 expansion passes that are probably going to see you over several hours. It seems a worthwhile investment, at least.
Indeed. It's cheaper than Batman vs Superman on Blu-ray.
It is, yeah.
Right, that's about it. That's about it for this episode. Huge thank you for listening. Thank you very much for joining me, Steve.
Thank you very much for having me again. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's awesome. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're Lost Spark Pod. You can also find us on YouTube and also Gamers Lost Spark PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. Steve, where can people catch up with you?
So on Xbox Live, I am SteeCarter91. PSN, I am Cartero. Spelling of that is Cartaearo. I can't even remember how I got that name. I think it was at school, so that shows how long ago I set the PSN account up. And let me just check my Twitter, because I had 2 at one point. At Twitter, I am at Steve_Carter91. And again, I don't know what I am on Nintendo Switch and my friend's code, but I'm sure if you tweet me, I'll let you know.
Excellent stuff. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo. Again, some random number code. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Like I say, we did have some feedback this week from Faith. I'm just trying to fire up the email. We had an email from Faith from Modesto, California. So thank you very much, Faith, for your email. It was kind of we have been alluding to a WhatsApp discussion about Mario, and one of the things that kind of Faith did ask, I'm just pulling up the email now, because she was saying you've been alluding to some kind of WhatsApp discussion for a while. What is this about? So Faith from Modesta. So it's basically, and we'll share a bit more when we because we got to answer your question as well. We've kind of have an ongoing discussion amongst the Sparks about Mario Sunshine, about whether Mario Sunshine sucks or is the best Mario game out there. We've actually got, I think James is currently replaying Sunshine. I think maybe just to prove a point, and or he hates himself. So we basically have split the Sparks. We have a love-hate for Mario Sunshine, and I know where I am. I'd never finished the game. I put it down in anger. Didn't break a joypad, but put it down in anger. So we have this ongoing. We'll be very nice to each other, and then every now and then someone will then just bring up Sunshine, and then the mood changes, doesn't it, Steve? It just kind of
it goes on like a fart in a lift, doesn't it? Just sort of random conversation. And it's usually me or somebody else. If I mention something positive, it'll just be just like Mario Sunshine, and then the mood just instantly just deflates, and it's like there's no need. It's it could be a real friendship break, I think, and again in the WhatsApp group we've had, we've kind of said that I think we need maybe a Mario special just to get everyone's feelings aired. But me, I'm in the pro Sunshine camp. As I mentioned when I was last on, that to me it was probably the first Mario game that I truly played when we got the GameCube, and I've recently just got into the retro scene a bit, so I've bought a GameCube and an original Xbox recently, and one of the first games I got was Mario Sunshine, being the reason why I bought the GameCube again. I'm not going to lie. But it's maybe we should, if we can get us all together, maybe share some sort of screenshots of maybe our best bits and our sort of mudslinging to let people know what's really going on behind the scenes, as it were. It's not all fine and dandy when we come on the show. There's a bit of argy-bargy and a bit of fisticuffs in the background.
Absolutely. But Super Mario Sunshine really is the your mama of our WhatsApp group, I think.
Definitely.
and then Faith finishes up her email and basically just saying, because she is, by the sounds of it, a bit of a sadist, because not only did she want to know about the kind of Mario discussion, also, as she, in her words, adds fuel to the fire, could you list your top 5 Mario titles? So we'll hold back on that. We are pooling with a lot of ribbing on the WhatsApp group, so thank you very much for that, Faith. but we are pooling kind of and trying to figure out kind of the top 5. I've got to have a think actually of my top 5, and I wonder if you can include Mario Kart in it as well, because so far James has been very quick. I thought it was going to be Sunshine every single one, but we haven't included a Mario Kart. Should Mario Kart be in there?
I think it has to be for me, because I don't think I've played enough to maybe give a top 5. But yeah, I mean, I think the top sort of 3 at least. I think it'd have to include Mario Kart in some variety. I mean, it's in a Mario game in its own right, isn't it? But
yes,
it's not classic Mario like Sunshine, though, is it? That's the issue. It's not 2D Mario. That's the issue. It's not 2D.
There you go. So this is kind of a bit of a sneak peek of what it's like. So yeah. So thank you incredibly for your feedback, Faith. We also had a couple of we've got another couple of questions as well. One that really kind of would be great to kind of like share, which was about buying games on different platforms. So we have another question that I'm saving for next week's podcast. But keep your feedback coming in. Like again, that's feedback@gamersathelostspark.com. So that's about it. This has been fantastic, Steve. Thank you very much, sir.
No, thank you very much for having me. It's it's a weekly thing now. Surely it's a tradition now already.
Absolutely.
2 weeks on the bounce. It's got to be 3 next week.
Exactly. This is the Tony and Steve podcast. We don't need the rest of them anymore.
No, we just get them involved in the WhatsApp group. They'll be fine.
Exactly.
James is fine taking selfies of himself and his Game Boy. I'm sure he'll keep himself happy, won't he?
Taking pictures of his Game Boy wherever he goes. Right. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye, Steve.
Awesome. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.